There comes a time in every man's life when silence feels heavier than failure. He prays, he plans, he pushes, and yet the doors refuse to open. I have lived that silence, and I have learned that delay is not denial. It is divine design. Life will often place you in what I call the waiting room of God, a space where nothing seems to move, yet everything is being arranged. It is there, in that unseen interval, that destinies are shaped, characters are tested, and faith is refined. Most people interpret delay as punishment. Few recognize it as preparation. Inspiring, the truth is, when the universe appears to pause, it is aligning your readiness with your request. The problem is that modern man has forgotten the language of patience. He scrolls through his life like a feed, wanting results without roots, speed without stability, applause without alignment. But nature does not hurry, and yet everything is accomplished. The law of success demands growth, and growth demands time. If the fruit appears before the seed is strong, it will rot before harvest. Inspiring closed door you face may be a door still under construction. The same force that built worlds is also building you, brick by brick, through every delay you despise. In those seasons when heaven seems silent, remember this: silence is not absence, it is calibration. Infinite intelligence works in the dark before it reveals in the light. The soil hides the seed not to bury it, but to prepare it for emergence. So too, your life may look hidden, but hidden is not hopeless. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. Every second of stillness carries divine intent. When the appointed hour comes, the opportunity will not be delayed a single breath longer than it must. Your task is not to panic in pause, but to prepare in patience. For the waiting room is not a prison. It is a classroom. It is where faith becomes fact, where desire matures into destiny, where the man becomes worthy of his dream. Remember this truth. Life never denies what you are ready to receive. It only delays to make you ready. I have watched the modern mind destroy its own peace by demanding speed instead of understanding. Man today lives in a race he never chose, chasing goals he never defined, and comparing blessings he never counted. He believes progress means movement, when in truth, most of his motion is panic dressed as purpose. The age of impatience has turned dreams into deadlines and faith into frustration. He wants the seed to sprout before the soil has even warmed. He scrolls through the success of others and forgets that what he sees is only the harvest, never the years of quiet cultivation beneath it. It is in that blindness that man curses delay, not realizing that delay is the doorway to discernment. He prays for abundance while running from the very process that builds his capacity to hold it. Understand this: if the universe granted you everything you desired in this moment, it would not bless you, it would break you. You cannot wear the crown without the weight that shapes your neck to bear it. The waiting season is the gymnasium of the soul. It is where discipline is sculpted and where purpose is tested in silence. Yet most abandon their training halfway through, mistaking preparation for punishment. They call it stagnation, but it is sacred stillness. The same way night prepares the body for dawn, waiting prepares the mind for wisdom. Your delay is not a void, it is a vessel, forming you into the kind of person who can manage the very dream you seek. Every closed door is an invitation to master your own timing, to trust that infinite intelligence is rearranging circumstances far beyond your view. The universe is not slow, it is strategic. Every moment that feels wasted is in truth weaving something necessary into your character. The impatient soul prays for shortcuts, but shortcuts shorten destiny. And so I tell you, do not despise the delay. Study it. Inspiring, ask yourself in the quiet, what part of me is still being prepared for the promise I have prayed for? For those who dare to ask that question with humility soon discover that the delay was never against them, it was for them. Hidden beneath the waiting is wisdom that no book, no teacher, and no experience can impart. It must be lived, felt, and endured. Many years ago, I learned that the universe has a peculiar way of answering prayers. It does not always speak in words or signs. Often it replies in silence. That silence, my friend, is not indifference. It is inspection. Infinite intelligence examines the vessel before it fills it. And when you are not yet strong enough to hold what you have asked for, the answer must be delayed until strength is built. A delay is not the universe rejecting you. It is the universe respecting what you have requested. For every great desire requires a great becoming. You may call it the paradox of no. When life closes a door, it is not saying you shall not pass. It is saying you shall pass when you are ready. The law that governs all manifestation demands harmony between the dream and the dreamer. If the dream is grander than your current character, the universe must first stretch you to match it. That stretching may feel like struggle, but struggle is only growth without comfort. Every no carries within it the quiet message, I am not withholding, I am preparing. It is divine calibration, the unseen process of aligning your vibration with your vision. You may not see it, but life is rearranging people, timing, and opportunity in your favor. What you perceive as delay may be someone else's preparation who must meet you in perfect alignment. Inspiring, think of two trains departing from different cities, timed to meet on a single track. They must both travel their course before arrival makes sense. So it is with your destiny. The delay is not a void, it is coordination. When the yes finally arrives, it will not only bless you, it will bless every soul connected to your purpose. And when you understand this, frustration transforms into faith. You stop demanding, and you start discerning. Inspiring, you no longer pray for things to hurry, you pray to be ready when they come. The man who learns this secret is never bitter at delay. He becomes curious about it. He knows that time is not his enemy, it is his architect. And the waiting room is not the end of the journey, it is the shaping ground for kings. Every apparent rejection in my life was in truth a redirection towards something better aligned with my purpose. I once thought that a closed door was loss until I discovered that it was merely guidance wearing disguise. Infinite intelligence does not operate through haste, it operates through harmony. When something you desire is withheld, it is because the law that governs all creation knows you are still being refined for its weight. Reflective. You cannot carry abundance with a weak foundation, nor peace with a restless mind. Delay is the universe strengthening your spine before it places the crown. Many give up in that process because they confuse testing with punishment. But no craftsman hands over his masterpiece before the final polish. And you too are being polished in silence, shaped by unseen hands into the form your destiny demands. Inspiring, the world may think you are idle, but God knows you are in incubation. The paradox of no is sacred. It is a teacher that trains the heart to trust beyond logic. I have learned that true faith is not proven when things go right. It is proven when nothing moves and you remain unmoved. It takes courage to stand in the fog of uncertainty and still affirm, my path is unfolding in perfect order. That affirmation is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual discipline. It declares to the universe, I may not see the bridge yet, but I am already walking toward it. Every delay trains you to listen rather than panic, to pause rather than push. It teaches you to seek wisdom before reward, growth before gain. That is the law of divine timing. When you grow, everything you seek grows toward you. The blessing does not move. It waits for the man to evolve into the vibration that can sustain it. You are not waiting for opportunity. Opportunity is waiting for you. The day your faith equals your desire, the door will open without struggle. You will look back and realize that the no was never a rejection. It was an act of love. For had you received it sooner, it might have destroyed you. Inspiring, but in delay, it matured with you. You became the kind of man who could not only attract success, but hold it, grow it, and use it to lift others. And that, my friend, is divine calibration in its highest form. Delay is not time lost, it is time invested by heaven itself. There is a hidden blueprint behind every delay, an order so precise that only faith can comprehend it. I have come to know that infinite intelligence never wastes a single moment. It uses even the pauses to prepare the next move. What feels like stagnation is often silent synchronization. Life is aligning unseen elements on your behalf. People, timing, circumstances, until they all converge at the perfect intersection.
When you receive something too early, you mishandle it. When you receive it on time, it multiplies.
Therefore, every delay is a mercy concealed within mystery. It spares you from receiving unripe blessings. Inspiring, think of the fruit that ripens too fast. It tastes sweet for a moment, but spoils quickly. The universe insists that everything mature before manifestation. The same law applies to your destiny. It must ripen through character. There are lessons that cannot be learned in speed. They require silence, solitude, and surrender. In my own seasons of waiting, I have seen how strength grows quietly under the pressure of patience. You begin to develop a wisdom that rushing can never offer. You learn to hear the whisper beneath the noise, to trust the process without proof. When that happens, you move from reaction to revelation. You stop fighting delay and start flowing with it. Suddenly, the closed doors lose their bitterness because you see the purpose behind them. Perhaps you were meant to meet someone else first, learn a skill, heal a wound, or refine a habit. Every event, even the frustrating ones, is preparation in disguise. Infinite intelligence is never still. It is always building what you cannot yet see. While you wait, something divine is always at work beyond the curtain of time. And one morning, when the invisible becomes visible, you will realize the delay was not blocking you. It was building you. In that moment, gratitude will replace regret, and faith will replace fear. You will understand that the blueprint never failed. It only followed a schedule wiser than your own. Most men curse the season of waiting because they cannot see the invisible architecture forming beneath their feet. But if you could glimpse even one moment of what infinite intelligence is arranging on your behalf, you would thank heaven for every delay. Life does not make mistakes. It makes miracles in slow motion. The waiting season is not a void. It is a forge. It melts away weakness, reshapes intention, and strengthens endurance. The man who resents delay interrupts the very process meant to refine him. But the man who honors it, who studies it, who works while he waits, becomes unstoppable. Inspiring while the impatient cry, "Why me?" the wise declare, "Prepare me." A declaration transforms delay from a burden into a blessing. You begin to see how every pause protected you from premature exposure, from partnerships that would have drained you, from paths that would have trapped you. The divine blueprint includes both doors and detours. What you call a setback may in truth be a safeguard. You are being redirected towards something that aligns with your higher vibration, your truer mission, your matured mind. Nothing good ever arrives through haste. The law of rhythm forbids it. Even the planets orbit in perfect pace, not rushing, not resisting, always aligned with their appointed path. You too must learn to orbit your purpose in faith, trusting that your revolution will come when the alignment is complete. I have never seen a man fail who trusted divine timing and kept working on himself in the dark. Such a man becomes magnetic, disciplined, and at peace. His calmness becomes his compass. The impatient exhaust themselves chasing opportunity. The patient attract it effortlessly. Delay, therefore, is not stagnation. It is energy accumulating for your elevation. When the appointed hour strikes, what once crawled will soar. That is why every wise soul learns to smile at delay. It means destiny is being handcrafted with precision. You are being positioned, not punished. Remember this. While you wait, the universe works twice as hard on your behalf. There comes a moment in every waiting season when you begin to see hints of what all the silence was shaping. A phone call that arrives at the right hour, a meeting that opens a new door, a realization that ties all the threads together. Suddenly, you understand that nothing was random. Everything had rhythm. What once felt like detour now reveals itself as direction. The divine blueprint always finishes what it begins, but it demands your cooperation through patience. Many pray for miracles, but forget that miracles are timed, not triggered. They bloom when inner readiness meets outer opportunity. That is the secret harmony between faith and time. When you learn to trust this rhythm, you no longer chase outcomes, you cultivate alignment. The universe will never give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to maintain. This is why delay must exist. It molds you into the keeper of your own blessing. What good is wealth without wisdom, love without loyalty, success without serenity? The waiting refines your values so the gift will not corrupt you when it arrives. The law is simple. When you evolve, everything you desire evolves toward you. Growth pulls destiny forward like gravity pulls the tide. The wise man does not pray for acceleration. He prays for alignment. I have seen countless souls chase the harvest before planting season was done, and they lost both the crop and their courage. But the man who tends his inner soil never fears the calendar. He knows that infinite intelligence honors diligence more than desperation. Inspiring. So he works, he studies, he strengthens his faith, and he waits with expectancy. And when the hour finally comes, he discovers that the reward was not the answered prayer, but the transformed self that could now receive it. This is the quiet beauty of delay. It builds the man equal to the miracle. Every moment you endure in faith is an investment. Every sigh becomes seed for the future you prayed for. Inspiring, one day you will look back and say, if I had received it sooner, I would have been smaller than the blessing. But now you are ready, and readiness is the signature of divine timing. Perseverance is the bridge between desire and destiny. Many begin the journey of success with passion, but only the persevering finish it with purpose. I have seen men of brilliance fall short, not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked endurance. Life will always test the seriousness of your dream through the currency of time. It will ask, how long are you willing to believe when nothing appears to happen? That question separates those who play with purpose from those who are possessed by it. Inspiring perseverance is not stubbornness. It is spiritual maturity. It is the discipline to keep building when emotion has fled and evidence is absent. When I speak of perseverance, I do not mean endless striving. I mean a calm, focused persistence born from faith. The universe bends for the man who refuses to break. Every adversity carries within it the seed of a greater opportunity, but that seed only sprouts through persistence. A patient dig it up before it takes root. The wise water it daily with belief. Perseverance turns delay into development, transforming waiting into wisdom and defeat into direction. You cannot master life by emotion alone. You must anchor your heart in purpose. Emotion starts the engine. Perseverance drives it to the destination. There will be moments when you feel unseen, unrewarded, and forgotten, but these are the moments that sculpt greatness. The strongest steel is formed in the longest fire. When I faced my darkest hours, I discovered that the difference between giving up and going on was often one more sunrise of faith. The law of perseverance states, what you hold in thought with faith and act upon with consistency must eventually yield to you. Every repetition builds resonance, and resonance becomes reality.
Well, reflective.
You are never wasting time when you remain steadfast. You are building frequency with the infinite. Inspiring, when you align your effort with divine timing, your persistence becomes prophecy. The man who keeps moving toward his goal, even through the fog of uncertainty, will one day stand where others only dreamed. For perseverance, not luck, is the mark of every master. I have observed that the universe never denies the man who refuses to stop believing. It may test him, delay him, and strip him of comfort, but never of the ultimate reward that matches his faith. Perseverance is the language through which infinite intelligence recognizes seriousness. When you persist, you declare to life itself, I am prepared to earn what I desire. Most men fail not because the goal was unreachable, but because they surrendered one trial too soon. They misinterpreted silence as denial, when in truth it was preparation. Inspiring, every step taken in faith, even when unseen, echoes through the invisible field of creation. The moment you stop moving forward, the vibration weakens. When you persist, it strengthens again. The law of perseverance responds only to continuity. It rewards motion sustained by conviction. You must decide daily whether you are moved by appearances or guided by vision. Appearances will deceive, vision will deliver. When I endured seasons of lack, I found that every obstacle carried within it a hidden lesson essential for my next rise. Each delay trained me to act with greater accuracy, patience, and humility. Life is not punishing you when it slows you. It is strengthening you through resistance. Just as the wind shapes the mountain, adversity sculpts the soul. If success came easily, it would create fragile men. Perseverance ensures that your victory will not collapse under its own weight. Endurance is faith in motion. It is the body acting on what the spirit knows is true. And when you live that truth long enough, reality begins to conform to your persistence. Inspiring, you were never meant to escape the storm. You were meant to become the calm within it. Perseverance trains you to hold peace when nothing is peaceful, to see light when sight fails. That strength cannot be borrowed, taught, or inherited. It must be built strike by strike, trial by trial. The man who stands unshaken when life delays his reward becomes irresistible to destiny itself. For the universe recognizes in him the reflection of its own persistence. And when that recognition occurs, the waiting ends and manifestation begins. The man who endures learns a sacred truth. No trial is wasted. No struggle is without seed. Every test becomes instruction. Every setback becomes scaffolding for greater structure. I have never met a man of greatness whose path was smooth. Only those who refuse to let the roughness break their resolve. Perseverance is the proof of faith made visible. Faith without endurance is mere enthusiasm. It shines briefly, then fades with the first resistance.
Endurance transforms belief into power.
When you keep working, though the world calls you foolish, you are not merely hoping, you are creating. Inspiring creation requires time, tension, and trust in the invisible laws that govern progress. The law of cause and effect will always respond to steady effort. It cannot be cheated, but it never fails. Those who give up assume that life has rejected them, when in truth they have rejected their own power. Every defeat whispers, grow stronger. Every delay murmurs, stay ready. The impatient soul seeks comfort. The persevering soul seeks character. And character is what makes a man fit to handle abundance when it arrives. Inspiring, the world celebrates the reward, but heaven celebrates the refinement. To persevere is to prove that your purpose is stronger than your pain. When you learn to act without needing applause, you enter the realm of mastery. Reflective, you no longer need external signs. Your certainty becomes its own evidence. That certainty is magnetic. It draws opportunity as surely as gravity pulls the tide. Inspiring, it is in those moments when you persist with quiet conviction that destiny begins to bend toward you. Many call it luck, but there is no such thing as luck to the man who perseveres. It is law fulfilling itself. The universe keeps perfect records. It misses not one act of faith, not one moment of courage.
Reflective, every ounce of effort compounds in the invisible until it manifests in form.
You may not see the fruit yet, but beneath the soil of persistence, the roots are spreading wide and deep. And when the harvest comes, it will come suddenly, yet it will have been growing all along. Perseverance does not simply move mountains. It builds the man who can. Each delay, each disappointment, chisels away the weaker layers of self until only determination remains. I have watched men grow unrecognizable through persistence. The timid became bold. The uncertain became unbreakable. It is impossible to fail if you refuse to quit, for quitting is the only true failure. The law that governs creation is patient. It tests every soul to see if he is willing to wait for what he claims to believe. Those who endure find that faith evolves from hope into certainty. They stop asking, will it happen, and begin declaring it is already on its way. That declaration is not arrogance, it is alignment. You begin to feel the future before it arrives, and the energy of that conviction pulls it closer each day. Perseverance trains the mind to see beyond the obstacle, to remember that every limitation is temporary. The man who holds vision when others surrender becomes a beacon for those still lost in doubt. His courage becomes contagious. His faith becomes evidence. For nothing inspires the human spirit more than the sight of one who refused to yield. I tell you this, when you keep faith through the long night, the dawn cannot deny you. The universe is exact. It will repay endurance with opportunity, persistence with prosperity, devotion with destiny. You may bend beneath the weight of waiting, but if you do not break, the weight will soon become wings. Out of endurance comes elevation. The soul that once crawled through discouragement will one day stand tall upon the mountain it refused to abandon. The final test of perseverance is gratitude. Can you thank the delay while you still wait? Gratitude transforms endurance into joy, turning the journey itself into reward. When you can smile in the pause, you have already conquered time. Inspiring for you no longer measures success by what arrives, but by who you become along the way. And that, my friend, is the secret most never learn. Perseverance is not the path to the promise, it is the promise itself. When you embody that truth, you cease chasing miracles, because you have become one. The wise man never wastes a season of waiting. He weaponizes it. While the world complains of delay, he converts delay into discipline. I have learned that faith without strategy is frustration disguised as hope. If you are to grow during the pause, you must turn every quiet hour into a workshop for transformation. Ask yourself daily, what can I refine while I wait? The answer will often reveal the next step in your divine assignment. Perhaps it is a skill, a habit, a relationship, or a belief that needs reconstruction. Waiting is not weakness. It is training time for the soul. The man who prepares in silence will speak with power when the opportunity arrives. There are 4 laws that turn waiting into weaponry. The first is reflection, reviewing your desire to ensure it is still worthy of your destiny. Many chase outdated dreams that no longer align with who they have become. The pause is the universe's way of asking, do you still want this, or have you grown beyond it? When you refine your desire, you remove confusion from your vibration. The second law is refinement, improving the tools you already possess. Study, practice, and perfect your craft. Excellence attracts opportunity faster than impatience ever will. A man sharpening his sword in silence is far more dangerous than one shouting his intentions in the street. The third law is repositioning, using delay to adjust your environment, your network, and your perspective. Often, the dream is ready, but the surroundings are not. Change your circle, elevate your habits, cleanse your atmosphere. The soil must be fertile before the seed can sprout. The fourth law is renewal, feeding your mind and spirit with inspiration instead of irritation. When the world rushes, you must rest. When the world panics, you must plan. Inspiring, stillness is not idleness, it is strategy in disguise. The greatest victories are born in seasons when others give up. Use the pause to rebuild your inner world so your outer world can expand. When the door finally opens, you will not be rusty from waiting. You will be radiant from preparation. For the man who works while he waits never waits in vain. Waiting becomes power the moment you decide to participate in it. Do not stand before time like a beggar. Stand within it like an apprentice. Every pause conceals instruction. Every silence holds strategy. The man who listens while others complain will hear what destiny whispers next. When I was forced to wait, I learned to study myself as diligently as I once studied opportunity. You will discover that most delays are mirrors, showing you what still needs discipline. Perhaps it is consistency, humility, or focus that must be matured before success can settle. Inspiring the pause exists not to punish you, but to perfect you. Use it to replace distraction with design. Begin each day asking, what invisible muscle of patience or persistence can I strengthen today? The man who builds inner strength during stillness will move mountains once motion returns. While others seek validation, he sharpens his value. You must learn the art of internal progress, growth, that no one applauds but everyone feels. Read deeply, plan boldly, refine quietly. Great empires are not built during applause. They are built during absence. The waiting season is the architect's chamber, where blueprints of greatness are drawn in solitude. You may feel forgotten, but you are merely being drafted into divine design. The man who accepts this truth ceases to resist time. He begins to cooperate with it. Cooperation with time transforms waiting into wisdom. Do not waste your energy fighting what must unfold naturally. Channel that energy into mastery. Learn the laws of your craft, your spirit, your purpose. Your purpose. The one who studies while he waits multiplies the power of his eventual arrival. Inspiring, each day of delay can become a day of development if you command it so. Waiting, when practiced consciously, becomes acceleration disguised as calm. Because when preparation meets opportunity, what others call luck becomes your new normal. That is the alchemy of patience. It converts time into treasure. Do not measure days by what you receive. Measure them by how much wiser you become. Inspiring, for the man who emerges from waiting refined will never again fear delay. He has learned to turn every pause into power, every silence into strategy, every delay into destiny. The waiting season is not a delay in destiny. It is the classroom of mastery. Every teacher in life appears disguised as time, testing whether you will use it or waste it. I have seen men pray for opportunity while neglecting the preparation that opportunity requires. To ask for greatness without discipline is to request harvest without planting. The law does not reward wishers. It rewards workers who refine in the dark. So I say to you, if you find yourself waiting, become a student again. Study your patterns, your habits, your reactions. Inspiring, turn your frustration into fuel, your boredom into building. Ask not for the season to end, ask for the strength to use it completely. The man who learns to command time can never again be controlled by it. While others complain of delay, he turns delay into data, analyzing every lesson the pause reveals. Every disappointment has a design hidden within it. Your task is to find it before resentment blinds you. The wise never ask, when will it happen? They ask, who must I become before it does? That question alone separates the impatient from the initiated. Inspiring, for those who understand this law, waiting is not wasted. It is weighted with meaning. Every hour spent in stillness is an investment in future momentum. The dream that takes longer to build will stand longer when it rises. Consider the oak. It grows slowly, but it stands through centuries of storms. The world may mock your pace, but destiny respects your roots. Remember this, your foundation is being poured in private, so your success will not collapse in public. Every unseen day of discipline adds invisible strength to your spirit. When others rush, slow down. When others quit, breathe deeper. When others doubt, reaffirm your aim. Waiting is your chance to train the invisible muscles of faith, focus, and fortitude. When the gates of opportunity finally swing open, the unprepared will stumble, but you will stride through as one who expected it. For patience, properly practiced, becomes the proof of mastery itself. The greatest mistake a man can make while waiting is to remain idle. Waiting does not mean stillness of the hands. It means stillness of the heart while the hands continue their work. I have never met success that was not first disguised as persistence in obscurity. Use the hidden hours to shape yourself into a vessel too powerful to be ignored when the moment arrives. Begin by mastering small disciplines, the way you speak, the way you think, the way you rise after discouragement. A man who rules his inner world cannot be ruled by circumstance. That is why every moment of delay is a test of sovereignty. Inspiring when you learn to govern your emotions, your words, and your energy, time begins to serve you instead of hinder you. The impatient seek control over outcomes. The wise seek control over themselves. Self-mastery is the highest form of progress, and waiting is its greatest training ground. You are not waiting for opportunity. You are becoming opportunity itself. When that realization dawns, you will no longer plead with life. You will partner with it. Use every quiet season to build routines that will protect you once success arrives. Train your focus. Refine your gratitude. Discipline your consumption of thought and word. These are weapons sharper than ambition, stronger than chance. Each day of quiet practice stores energy like a drawn bowstring. When the appointed hour strikes, the arrow of your preparation will fly with perfect aim. You will act swiftly, speak clearly, decide confidently, and others will call it genius. But you will know it was forged in silence. Remember, the world crowns visible effort, but infinite intelligence rewards invisible endurance. Let every delay remind you that destiny is never late for those who prepare early. Waiting, when mastered, becomes a superpower because nothing can unsettle the man who trusts divine order. In that calm certainty lies invincible momentum. When you reach this state, delay can no longer frustrate you. It becomes your greatest ally. For you will have learned the secret law. He who conquers waiting conquers time itself. There comes a sacred hour when the long season of waiting finally reveals its purpose. You begin to see how every delay, every disappointment, every detour was never meant to defeat you, but to define you. What once looked like punishment now glows with the wisdom of divine protection. Life had to withhold certain blessings until you grew strong enough to honor them. You asked for the mountain, and life gave you the muscles to climb it first. Reflective, you asked for abundance, and life gave you seasons of lack to teach you stewardship. You asked for peace, and life sent storms to train your calm. Every unanswered prayer was a redirection toward something higher, finer, and freer. For abundance is not measured by possessions. It is measured by perception. The man who has learned to see delay as divine order already walks in wealth. He is no longer a victim of time, but a partner of creation. I have watched men receive the very things they once cried over losing, and they received them stronger, wiser, and far more grateful. That is the grand reveal. Nothing was wasted. All was woven. You begin to realize that the long nights were not empty. They were planting roots for the dawn. Infinite intelligence never abandons its design. It merely works beyond the sight of impatience. The treasure you sought was not hidden from you. It was hidden for you, protected until you were capable of carrying it without corruption. Inspiring, the universe answers not when you are ready to want, but when you are ready to wield. And when that alignment occurs, abundance flows with a quiet inevitability. The people, opportunities, and resources you once chased begin to move toward you as if drawn by gravity. The door that once resisted now opens easily because you have become the key. You realize that abundance was never about accumulation. It was always about alignment. The wealth you now see outwardly began long ago in the unseen patience of your soul. Every delay was currency. Every endurance was investment. Every prayer was construction. And now you stand not as a beggar of blessings, but as their rightful steward. When the curtain finally lifts, you will see that the divine plan was never late. It was meticulous. Every delay was a note in the grand symphony of your becoming. The music of destiny is not played in haste. It follows rhythm, rest, and resonance. When the moment arrives, you will understand why you had to wait. The same door that once resisted your knocking now swings open effortlessly because the one who stands before it has changed. You will laugh at the seasons you once called lost, for they were the very soil that grew your wisdom. Gratitude will rise like sunlight through your chest, and you will whisper, "Now I see." Inspiring, you will realize that the blessing did not change. It was you who evolved into the one who could receive it. That is abundance, not mere possession, but preparedness meeting purpose. The man who masters delay becomes immune to scarcity. He knows that wealth flows naturally to those whose hearts are aligned with its laws. Abundance has never been about how much you hold. It is about how freely you flow with the rhythm of giving and receiving. Every lesson learned during the waiting season becomes a new channel through which prosperity can move. Your patience opens doors that force could never unlock. In your stillness, you developed perception. In your pain, you discovered persistence. In your pause, you learned partnership with infinite intelligence. Reflective, the result is effortless magnetism. Life begins to meet you halfway. You no longer chase, you attract by vibration, not by volume. Everything you once begged for now comes naturally, because you have become equal to it. The universe does not respond to desperation, it responds to demonstration. When you embody the energy of abundance, the form of abundance appears in your path. This is the ultimate revelation of waiting. It was never about delay, it was about design. The universe was not testing your patience, it was training your power. And when that training ends, manifestation no longer feels like a miracle. It feels like the natural outcome of who you are, for you have discovered the secret that the impatient never learn. The blessing is not what arrives, it is what remains after the waiting refines you. When true abundance arrives, it will not roar, it will whisper. It will not appear as something foreign, but as something familiar, as if you had always carried it within you. Because the waiting was never empty, it was creation in slow motion. Every tear, every lesson, every test has been shaping you into the vessel through which abundance can safely flow. The immature man demands increase. The mature man becomes increase. This is why the law never fails. It responds to vibration, not vocabulary. What you are, you attract. What you sustain, you expand. Inspiring, the waiting season trained you to hold the vibration of gratitude even when nothing seemed to work. That is the language the universe understands, persistence through peace. You were never meant to beg for blessings. You were meant to broadcast readiness. And readiness is the true wealth because readiness magnetizes opportunity. Look back on your path and see how every detour led to alignment. Inspiring, the people who left, the jobs that fell apart, the prayers that seemed unanswered, they were all clearing space for what was truly yours. Infinite intelligence never subtracts without multiplying later. When you understand that law, loss loses its sting and delay loses its dread. You begin to live with quiet confidence, knowing that even apparent endings are disguised beginnings. This is abundance beyond finance. This is spiritual prosperity. Inspiring, the kind that follows you wherever you go, because it is built within, not given from without. You walk into rooms differently, not because of pride, but because of peace. Others will sense it before you speak. Your calm will command their respect. For the man who has mastered waiting radiates authority without noise. He no longer forces outcomes, he allows them. And in that allowance, everything aligns effortlessly. This is the grand reveal. The moment you realize you were never waiting for abundance. Abundance was waiting for you to become worthy of its rhythm. The grand revelation of life is not that your dream was delayed, but that you were being developed for its weight. Abundance does not visit the unready. It seeks the steady, the faithful, the inwardly fortified. The man who learns to wait in wisdom will always inherit more than he imagined. For when the time of manifestation arrives, he receives not only the blessing, but the strength to sustain it. The impatient man may find success for a season, but he will lose it through mismanagement. Yet the one who matured through the pause will multiply what he touches, because he understands the laws behind it. He no longer prays for miracles, he lives as one. Inspiring, his vibration becomes a command, calm, certain, creative. Infinite intelligence recognizes him as a faithful partner in the process of expansion. The universe never gives to the hurried what it reserves for the prepared. That is why some rise slowly. They are being built to last. Delay was never denial. It was durability being installed in your foundation. And now you stand at the edge of all you once feared would never come. You feel no anxiety, no need to prove, no desire to rush. because you now know that everything belongs to its appointed time. You are finally in rhythm with the law of abundance, giving, receiving, creating, resting, and rising in harmony. From this point onward, your success will feel effortless, not because life became easier, but because you became aligned. Inspiring. The waiting refined your character. Now character refines your results. You will build calmly, prosper quietly, and bless abundantly. The world will call it luck, but it is law fulfilling its promise. You've proven yourself worthy of divine trust. Remember this truth: wealth gained by wisdom cannot be taken. It must be matched in consciousness to exist. You are now the consciousness of abundance, and therefore abundance can no longer leave you. Every delay has been redeemed, every lesson absorbed, every promise fulfilled in its perfect hour. The man who once waited now walks, not behind his dream, but beside it. Every revelation demands response. Knowledge unused becomes dust upon the mind. You have learned the law of delay, the value of perseverance, the rhythm of divine timing. Now you must live them. Faith that waits must become faith that works. You are not a spectator in the universe. You are a co-creator within it. Infinite intelligence does not move without your participation. It responds to your definiteness of purpose. Decide today what you will create, not someday when conditions are perfect, but now while the echo of this truth still vibrates in your heart. Begin where you stand, with what you have, trusting that more will be given as you move. The secret of transformation lies not in waiting for power, but in walking as though you already possess it. Act as if the invisible has already said yes, and the visible will soon conform. Well, the world changes for the man who dares to change himself first. No longer ask, when will life give me what I want? Ask instead, when will I become what life requires? That single shift from demand to development turns fate into freedom. You are no longer bound by time. You are aligned with timeless law. Every action performed with purpose and faith becomes prayer in motion. Speak your vision each morning with conviction, not as a wish, but as a decree. Direct your aim. Repeat it. Visualize it until it becomes the atmosphere of your mind. Then work quietly, steadily, fearlessly, knowing that unseen forces are already adjusting the world to your vibration. Inspiring formation is not a moment, it is a manner of living. The man who practices faith daily no longer needs proof. His results become the proof. Each breath becomes a reminder that infinite intelligence lives through him and creates with him. The time has come to act as the architect of your own abundance. The waiting room has served its purpose. Now you must build with the wisdom it gave you. Do not rush blindly into motion. Move with clarity, focus, and faith. Each step you take in purpose calls forth unseen allies and invisible opportunities. The universe responds to precision, not panic. Decide what you desire, define why you desire it, and dedicate yourself wholly to its creation. Half-hearted wishes produce half-hearted results, but a definite purpose fused with faith becomes a magnet to all needed power. This is the highest expression of co-creation, partnership with infinite intelligence. You are never alone in your labor. Every inspired thought summons resources beyond your sight. Reflect to the unseen as confidently as you speak to men, for the unseen is the source of all form. When doubt appears, remind yourself that the law has never failed one who kept faith alive. Stand firm when nothing moves. Your endurance is proof of mastery. The tide of success always turns in favor of the steadfast. Guard your mind as a gardener guards soil. Weed out fear, water gratitude, and expose faith to the light daily. What you think consistently, you will feel. What you feel consistently, you will form. Therefore, think abundance until abundance becomes temperament, not theory. Inspiring, walk each day as though your dream were already fulfilled. Speak with calm authority, act with noble discipline, and give thanks before results appear. Gratitude in advance is faith perfected. The man who thanks before receiving shortens the distance between vision and manifestation. Each morning declare, today I cooperate with infinite intelligence in peace, purpose, and power. Inspiring such declarations reorder thought, summon courage, and command circumstance. You are not a servant of destiny, you are a sculptor of it. The tools have always been within you. Imagination, intention, and integrity. Transformation begins when knowledge turns into daily discipline. The man who reads truth but does not apply it is like one who gazes upon fire yet remains cold. Warmth comes only to those who move closer and act. Each time you practice faith under pressure, you rewrite your subconscious with power. Repetition is the sculptor of belief. Speak life into your goals until your mind accepts them as reality. Your words are commands to the invisible. They shape energy into evidence. Therefore, let every sentence be filled with certainty and peace. The law of harmony ensures that consistent thought, backed by emotion, must become experience. Do not ask if it works. Become the evidence that it does. Each day you persist, you move closer to mastery over yourself and the world around you. When obstacles rise, see them as tests confirming your readiness, not as signs of rejection. Every challenge conceals a certificate of graduation waiting to be yours. Face it with gratitude, for the problem is proof that your purpose has matured enough to meet resistance. Resistance reveals readiness. The arrow must stretch backward before it flies forward. Let pressure pull you, not paralyze you. You are never stuck. You are being aimed. Keep your vision before you like a compass, and your faith beneath you like ground. When fatigue whispers quit, whisper back eternity. You are part of a continuum of creation. Your persistence feeds generations unseen. Act each day with the dignity of one who represents infinite intelligence on earth. Inspiring, speak kindly, build boldly, forgive quickly, believe relentlessly. These are the habits that maintain the vibration of abundance. Live them, and success will follow you as faithfully as your own shadow. You now stand where few ever reach the threshold between knowledge and embodiment. The question before you is simple. Will you live as the man who waits, or the man who walks with faith fulfilled? The waiting season is complete. The working season has begun. Step forward with quiet authority, knowing that delay has given you depth and purpose. Do not seek applause, seek alignment. The world does not need another seeker of signs, it needs creators of light. Become that light by practicing calm confidence amid chaos. Inspiring, let patience remain your armor and gratitude your sword. Every act of kindness, every disciplined choice, every moment of focus sends ripples through the unseen field of creation. Live as though the law is always listening, because it is. Your thoughts are blueprints, your emotions are builders, your actions are anchors. Together they construct the reality you inhabit. Inspiring, therefore build deliberately, beautifully, and bravely. You owe the world your mastery, not your misery. Rise each morning declaring, I live in divine partnership with the source of all supply. Say it until peace floods your chest and clarity crowns your mind. Let no delay steal your dignity, no setback steal your certainty. In aspiring, you have walked through fire. Now walk as flame. Carry this truth wherever you go. Patience was the price, perseverance was the path, and abundance is the proof. Go forward now, not as a student of faith, but as its living expression. You have waited well, therefore you will receive well. Remember, the man who masters time becomes timeless. Inspiring, work boldly, rest peacefully, give generously, believe completely. And when others ask how you created such a life, tell them gently, I stopped waiting. I started becoming.